Hi, today we're learning about complex fractions and mixed numbers. This is an extension for 8.2 because you need to know it for the ERB, so I'm adding it in. So I know I've got this when I can simplify complex fractions and simplify mixed numbers. The key vocabulary: a complex fraction is a fraction that has one or more fractions in the numerator or denominator. You can simplify these using division. So example 1a, it's a simplify 8t squared over b all over 4t over b cubed. So watch, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go 8t squared over b and then multiply by the reciprocal of the second. Okay, so we're going to flip it and say b cubed over 4t, and then we're going to simplify. So you have 1b here and 3 there, so I can simplify and say b squared. The 4 can go in the 8 2 times, and have 1t here and 2 there, so I can simplify this. So I get 2t b squared. Okay, let's do this one together. So we're going to have negative 24m cubed t to the 5th over p squared h, not b, h, times, flip the bottom, so t to the 4th h over 16pm squared. Okay, so let's start simplifying. So I have 1h and 1h. I've got 2 m's here and 3 there, so I can knock one of those out. Well, knock 2 of them out. Okay, can I simplify anything else? Not other than my coefficients. So 16 and 24 can both be divided by 8. So this would be a 2, and that would be a negative 3. So what am I left with? I'm left with negative 3m t to the 9th, because I have 5 and 4, so that would be 9, over 2p, and I have 2 here and 1 there, so 2p cubed. All right, you go ahead and try this one. And you should have gotten g squared b over h squared. Okay, now we're going to do one where we actually have to factor. So I'm going to factor everything. So I've got c times c. I'm doing the first one right now, the first numerator. Okay, so what gives me 3, and that would add together to give me a negative 4. A negative 3 and a negative 1 over c times c. So what times what gives me 14? That adds together to give me 9, a 2, and a 7. And then I'm going to multiply it by the reciprocal of the second one. So I'm going to get c plus 2 on top. And on the bottom, I am factoring the c squared minus 9, which is a difference of squares. So it would be c minus 3 and c plus 3. Okay, now let's cancel out where we can. So we can cancel out diagonally or vertically. So I'm going to cancel out the c plus 2s and the c minus 3s. And you write what's left. So I'm left with c minus 1 over c plus 7 times c plus 3. Let's do this one together. So I'm going to factor where I can. So I've got x minus 3 on top. And then over, I'm going to factor this. So that'd be x times x. What times what gives me 2? That adds together to give me 3, 2, and 1. Then I'm going to flip the bottom. So I've got x plus 1 on top. And then x squared minus 9. Difference of squares, x minus 3 and x plus 3. And then factor out where you can. So what can I factor? I can cross out the x minus 3s, and I can cross out the x plus 1s. So what am I left with on top? There's an assumed 1 in both of these. So I would have a 1 on top and x plus 2 times x plus 3 in the denominator. You try one. And you should have gotten x minus 8 times x minus 1 over x plus 2. Now we're going to deal with some mixed numbers. So when you have a mixed number, that is a whole number and a fraction together, right? So what you have to do when you're adding these is get a common denominator. So right now I'm only going to be dealing with the numerator, with this big numerator, okay? So this b is assumed to be over 1. So that common denominator would be just the b plus 3. Now I would have to say, okay, this b times what? 1 times what gives me b plus 3? B plus 3. And then I have this plus 2. Okay? And all that is over b minus 4. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to go b squared plus 3b, I'm distributing, plus 2 over b plus 3, all over b minus 4, which is over 1. Now I'm going to factor. So I've got, I'm sorry, this should be a 2 right there. Okay, now I'm going to factor. So b times b and 2 and 1 will multiply to give me 2 and add together to give me 3 over b plus 3 times 1 over the b minus 4 because I'm multiplied by the reciprocal. So my final answer is b plus 2, b plus 1 over b plus 3 times b minus 4. Now you might be saying that looks more complicated than what I started off with, but your final answer, you cannot have any mixed numbers inside of a fraction. Just like you can't have any decimals inside of a fraction, you can't have any mixed numbers inside of a fraction. A 3b looks a lot more complicated, but let's look at this, okay? I'm just gonna write, we need a c plus 7 right in the top to be able to add those two things together. Well, if I put a c plus 7 in the bottom, I need to put a c plus 7 in the top. So I've got 1 times c plus 7, and then you write this one, plus 2c squared minus 6c minus 10, all over that c plus 7, all over 2c plus 1, which is over 1. Okay, so now I'm going to distribute and combine like terms. So I'd have 2c squared. This would be plus 1c minus 6c. So that would be minus 5c plus 7 minus 10. So minus 3 over c plus 7. So all I did in that step was I just combined like terms over 2c plus 1 over 1. So now I'm going to factor this numerator, okay? So when I do that, I'm going to have, sorry, you probably can't hardly see that. All right, let's do that again. All right, so what times what gives me 2c squared? 2c times c. What times what gives me 3? 1 and 3. And then that would give me 1 minus 6c, which would give me 5c over c plus 7. Now I'm going to multiply by the reciprocal, so times 1 over 2c plus 1. So when I do that, my 2c's plus 1's will cancel, and all I'm left with is c minus 3 over c plus 7. Okay, you try this one. Okay, you should have gotten y plus 2 times y minus 3 over y minus 4 times y plus 3. Okay. Here's some extra practice that I want you to try. Go ahead and take pause it right now. And here are your answers. So I know I've got this when I can simplify complex fractions and simplify mixed numbers.